Hi everyone, today's topic is configurational nomenclature. There are two types of configurational nomenclature. One is based on absolute configuration and other is based on relative configuration. So in this class, I am going to discuss about relative configuration, that is D and L system of nomenclature. Before going into the details of relative configuration, first I can explain what is the difference between this absolute configuration and relative configuration. For example, if a child have a pair of shoes, but the child doesn't know about the shoes, that is here the child doesn't know about which one is right shoe and which one is left shoe. But the child can able to identify the shoe by putting in his foot, isn't it? The child doesn't know about which one is right, which one is left, but he can identify the shoe by putting on his foot. That is called relative configuration. With respect to related to his foot, he can identify which one is correct. That is called a relative configuration. And after that, if I am giving an array of shoes, the child can also able to identify all the shoes in comparison with the first one. That is, in related to the first one, he can identify all the remaining shoes. So that is called a relative configuration. That is, the child can able to identify whether these shoes are homochiral or whether these shoes are heterochiral. Homochiral means identical. Heterochiral means they are not identical, opposite. So the child can able to identify whether these shoes are homochiral or heterochiral, even though the child is not even know what is its absolute configuration, or even the child not about its child is not aware of the chirality. The child is able to find whether it is homochiral or heterochiral. So that is the difference between this absolute configuration and relative configuration. So here this relative related to his foot, the child was able to find its shoe, which one is a right shoe and which one is a left shoe. So that is called relative configuration. And that correct identification of the shoe, that is this shoe is a right and this shoe is a left, that is prior knowledge of that shoe, which one is right and which one is left, that is absolute configuration. So here the child was able to find the shoes, whether the shoes are homochiral or heterochiral, the child was able to find its relative configuration without knowing its absolute configuration or without knowing its chirality. Here the child was able to find its configuration, that is relative configuration. Okay. So that is a difference between this absolute configuration and relative configuration. Actually, Emil Fischer, we are already discussed about Emil Fischer in when we are doing the Fischer projection formula, Fischer projection, Newman projection, etc. So in the case of Fischer projection, Emil Fischer, that is here Emil Fischer, during 1890s when he engaged in the research of synthesis of sugar molecules like glucose, fructose, etc. He felt that if there is a relation between these sugar molecules, if there is a relation between these monosaccharides like glucose, fructose, mannose, etc., that will be better to identify its structure, because these monosaccharides all have similar structure. We know that they all have similar structure, only the difference in one asymmetric carbon atom, or that is difference in some HOH, etc. So he felt that if there is some relationship, if there is some relationship, or like if there is some notation is there, that will be better to identify its structure. Actually, this Emil Fischer, he is a second Nobel Prize winner. First Nobel Prize winner, we know that is we discussed before, that is Van Hoff. He got the first Nobel Prize in 1901, that we already discussed. that he also contributed in stereochemistry, but he got Nobel Prize in other area. Similarly, in the case of Emil Fischer, he also contributed our knowledge about Emil Fischer in stereochemistry, that is about this Fischer projection, etc. He contributed a lot in stereochemistry, but here he also got Nobel Prize in 1902, that is second Nobel Prize. His contribution in the synthesis of this glucose, fructose, etc. from glycerol, and also for his contribution in the synthesis of purines, that he got Nobel Prize in 1902. Okay, so Emil Fischer, he actually during his synthesis, his thinking is that if there is some notation or some configuration is there to identify these sugar molecules, if there is some relationship we can identify, if we can give some notations, that will be better to identify its structure. So he arbitrarily take glucose molecule, he arbitrarily take glucose molecule, that is glucose plus glucose. Plus glucose means the glucose molecule that rotate the plane of the plane polarized light towards the right. Okay, dextrorotatory glucose molecule, he took the glucose molecule and he arbitrarily gave that glucose molecule, he assigned the configuration capital D. He assigned the configuration capital D to this plus glycerol plus glucose. He arbitrarily gave this D configuration to plus glucose molecule. And he proposed that any molecule that can be synthesized from this glucose, or any molecule that can be converted into this glucose, that is both from glucose or into this glucose, that chemical transformation, if any chemical transformations are possible with this plus glucose, that all molecules are belong to this D family. Okay, that is his that he proposed in that way. Okay, that is, we know the glucose, here it is HOH, OH, H, HOH, HOH, CH2OH, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay. This is glucose plus glucose, this is D. He assigned the D configuration to this plus glucose molecule, and any molecule that can be synthesized from this plus glucose or any that can be converted into if any molecule that can be converted from plus glucose, that all belongs to, if any chemical transformations are possible with this D plus glucose, are all belong to D family. Similarly, this L-glucose, this mirror image plus glucose and his mirror image minus glucose, that belongs to this L family. And similar to in that case also, any molecule that can be converted or any chemical transformation that is possible with this L-glucose are all belong to that L family. That is his prediction, Emil Fischer's prediction. And later he found that glyceraldehyde, that is glyceraldehyde is CH2OH, CHO, this is glyceraldehyde. And later he found that glyceraldehyde, this glucose molecule can be synthesized from this glyceraldehyde, plus glyceraldehyde, or this plus glucose, D plus glucose can be decomposed or it can be degraded or decomposed into this plus glyceraldehyde. This is glyceraldehyde. So that observation made that this glyceraldehyde is taken as a reference compound. That is, later this observation, that is, this glucose can be obtained from glyceraldehyde or glyceraldehyde can be converted into this D plus glucose. That observation made him to think that afterwards, after this observation, this D plus glyceraldehyde, this D plus glyceraldehyde, here also D, because here same similar chemical transformations are possible. So here also D, and this D plus glyceraldehyde is taken as the reference compound, and later he predicted that any compound or any molecule that can be synthesized from this D plus glyceraldehyde, or any molecule, any chemical transformations are possible with this D plus glyceraldehyde are all belongs to this D family. Okay, that is his prediction. But there is a limitation. That is, if we take the case of lactic acid, what is lactic acid? CH3, CHOH, COH, lactic acid. Lactic acid, that is CH3, CHOH, COH, lactic acid. Suppose plus lactic acid and minus lactic acid, CH3, OH, H, COH. Here plus lactic acid and minus lactic acid. Okay, plus lactic acid and minus lactic acid, enantiomers. And in the case of lactic acid, as per his observation, what he said is that in the case of one enantiomer, this D plus glyceraldehyde can be converted into one enantiomer. That is a usual case. One, it can be converted into, or that chemical transformations are possible with one enantiomer. So that enantiomer, for example, this enantiomer will belongs to this D family, and then the other enantiomer will belongs to the other family, L family. That is a usual prediction. That is his prediction. But here the case is that both these enantiomers or both these isomers are able to produce from this D plus glyceraldehyde. Both these isomers, both these are possible to obtain, or these can be synthesized from this same D plus glyceraldehyde. That is, if this CHO group is oxidized, it can be converted into COH group, and at the same this CHO group on reduction it can be converted into CH3. Similarly, this CH2OH can be oxidized into this COH, or CH2OH can be reduced into this CH3. CHO can be oxidized, it can be both oxidized and reduced. It can be oxidized into COH and it can be reduced into CH3. Similarly, this CH2OH can be oxidized into COH and this CH2OH can be reduced into CH3. So, these both cases, both possibilities are there. That means both the molecules, these plus and minus isomers, these enantiomers are able to synthesize from the same D plus glyceraldehyde molecule. So, his prediction here, this prediction is not correct here. There is a limitation. Then comes Rosanov. So, Rosanov, he added his observations to Fischer's observation, and Rosanov in 1906 he predicted that this, when we are writing the molecule, when we are writing the configuration, the longest chain must be on the vertical line, and the most oxidizable group, longest chain must be on the vertical line, most oxidizable group like COH or CHO, that must be on the top, and then the highest asymmetric carbon atom, this is here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is highest numbered asymmetric carbon atom, and look at the highest numbered asymmetric carbon atom, and on the highest asymmetric centered carbon atom, if the OH is on the right side, that belongs to D family, and this OH, if it is on the left side, that belongs to L family. So, he added these points to Fischer's observation, because we usually write in this way. Before Rosanov's observation also, we usually, that is in the text, we are usually written in this manner, like Fischer projection, longest chain vertical, etc. Okay, but Fischer predicted what? He only explained about this right side OH or left side OH. He didn't explain that. He only explained that if any molecule that can be synthesized from this D plus glyceraldehyde, or if there is a chemical transformation possible with D plus glyceraldehyde, that belongs to the D family. And other things, that is, if OH is on the right side, that is D, if OH is on the left side, that is L, that he didn't explain at that time. So this is Rosenov's contribution to the Fischer's observation, that we have to write in this way, and we have to write the most oxidizable group at the top, and we have to observe the highest asymmetric carbon atom, and if on the highest asymmetric carbon atom, if the OH is on the OH or the negative group, if the OH or the negative group on the right side, that is belongs to a D family, and the OH or the negative group on the left side on the highest asymmetric carbon atom, that belongs to the L family. So that is Fischer-Rosenov's prediction. Okay, that is Fischer-Rosenov's proposal. But there also then comes limitations. There also afterwards come some limitation. That is, in the case of 2-phenyl butanoic acid, 2-phenyl butanoic acid. Butanoic acid is CH3, CH2, C, COH, 2-phenyl C6H5, 2-phenyl butanoic acid, and here we can write in this way: CH3, CH2, here it is C6H5, here it is H and COH. Okay, CH3, CH2, CH, C6H5, COH. This is 2-phenyl butanoic acid, and here also we write in this way, that is longest chain on the vertical line, and the most, here we write in this way, that is longest chain on the vertical line, but here the COH group on the left side, it is not on the top. So in this type of molecule, both the situations came together, that is, we have to bother about the longest chain, at the same time we have to bother about this most oxidizable group. So both situations came together, so it is not possible to incorporate both the situations. So here, for this type of molecules, it is difficult to predict the configuration as per this Fischer-Rosenov theory. Okay. So there are limitations, and actually this Fischer-Rosenov's prediction of finding the D and L configuration is actually suitable for sugar molecules and amino acids amino acids. In the case of amino acid, the reference compound, usually serine minus serine, this is amino acid. So amino acid, here NH2 COH, amino acid, here it is CH2OH. So amino acid, this is serine and this is minus serine. Minus serine means it is negative isomer, that is rotate the plane polarized light towards the left, and this serine, it arbitrarily given the configuration as L. This is L serine. Here this NH2 group on the left side, and this taken as a reference compound. This is L serine, and the other amino acids which can be converted or which can be synthesized from this L serine are all belongs to this L family. But here also there is a problem. For example, in the case of molecules like COH, here it is NH2H, here it is OH, H, OH, here it is H, OH, here it is CH2OH. For example, in the case of this molecule, how can we assign the configuration? How can we assign the configuration D or L? Because here, look at the bottom side. Here, when we look at this side, it is similar to this. It is similar to the glyceraldehyde, isn't it? Glyceraldehyde is CH2OH, CHOH, CHO, glyceraldehyde. But at the top side, it is similar to this serine. Okay. Here both the cases are here. So here when we compare this side, it is actually D. When we compare this to glyceraldehyde, it is D. But when we compare this to this amino acid molecule, it is actually L. So So in this case, we had to assign the configuration in such a way that either it can be assigned like DG. DG means D with respect to glyceraldehyde, or it can be assigned like LS, that with respect to serine it is assigned as L. So it can be assigned as either DG or LS. So that is about this relative configuration. That this relative configuration is actually suitable for this sugar and amino acid molecules. What is the advantage of this D and L system of nomenclature? That is, we have seen certain limitations in the case of certain molecules. We have seen the limitations, but this D and L system of nomenclature, it is useful in the case of these sugar molecules. It is very much useful in the case of sugar molecules, okay, like in the case of monosaccharides. Look at this synthesis of these monosaccharides. This synthesis is called Kiliani-Fischer synthesis. Kiliani-Fischer synthesis of monosaccharides, and this is D plus glyceraldehyde, D plus glyceraldehyde, and from this D plus glyceraldehyde, this is called triose, can be converted into these two. These are tetrose, and in this tetrose 1, 2, 3, 4 tetrose, and these are pentose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pentose, and in this tetrose, this is called erythrose. OH are on the same side, so this is called D-erythrose, and this is called D-triose, and these are all pentoses. This is ribose, this is called arabinose, this is called xylose, this is called lixose, and the next hexose also can be from after this is pentose, after that hexose, and in the hexose series we know that here in the hexose series there is glycerol, okay, sorry, not glycerol, in the hexose series there is glucose, okay. From this arabinose we can synthesize glucose, that is I didn't write that, only this much I showed here, and here these all molecules, these are all synthesized from this D plus glyceraldehyde. So these are all belongs to D family, or we can say these all molecules have the D configuration, because these are all synthesized from D plus glyceraldehyde. And this D plus glyceraldehyde, how this molecule comes, how here these are all actually they are all diastereomers, isn't it? They are diastereomers, these two are diastereomers, and here these two are diastereomers, and among these diastereomers these are epimers, because here the asymmetric carbon atom change only in this asymmetric carbon atom is changing here. So here these two are epimers, here also these two are epimers, here these are epimers, because here the change in only one asymmetric carbon atom is changing, remaining all are same. So here it is, these are relative configuration is very much useful here, because here there is after each step there is a generation of new asymmetric carbon, atom, but the all others are remaining same, that is below side here HOH, okay, here also when here 2 hydrogen, so when comes here the others are remaining same, only this change in only this asymmetric carbon atom is different, here it is HOH, here it is OHH, others are remaining same, here H are on the left side, here also H on the same side. So here there is a relationship is going from top to bottom, okay. That is why here this relative configuration, that is why here this relative configuration is useful. That is by looking at this compound we can predict the configuration of the remaining. And how this new asymmetric carbon atom is formed here, that is this compound on reaction with HCN, hydrogen cyanide, on reaction with HCN, what happens? This CHO, that is carbonyl addition, this CN added to this carbonyl carbon, so it comes CH2OH, here it is HOH, here comes this carbon, here it is H, and carbonyl carbon, the CN added to the carbonyl carbon, so it comes CN, and here comes OH. And this carbonyl carbon, the CN addition can be both sides, it can occur from the both sides. So two possibilities, HOH and OHH. Here it is CN, here it is HOH, here it is CH2OH. So this carbonyl carbon now become like two new centers. So one is this one and other one is this. So there is two possibility. These are the two molecules, isn't it? These are the same. Here this CN can then be converted into COH or CHO through proper reaction. That is, here the CHO, this can be converted, the CN can be converted into CHO by reduction followed by hydrolysis. The CN converted into CHO. So here the same molecule but one new asymmetric center is created here. And again this step we can continue this step, that is on reaction with hydrogen cyanide and followed by these steps it will create new other center, that is here it will create new center. All other are same. And from this arabinose we can from the next series I didn't show it here. From this arabinose we can generate glucose. What is glucose? We already discussed glucose in the beginning. That is, glucose is CH2OH, CHOH, CHOH, COHH, and then comes HOH, that is glucose. CH2OH, HOH, HOH, OHH, and here comes HOH. New asymmetric carbon will comes here. So that is from arabinose. That is from arabinose we can create glucose. Okay, that is hexose. So this is a advantage of D and L system of nomenclature, or this is a advantage of relative configuration. That is, in the case of these sugar molecules, it is easy to predict. It is easy to predict the relationship among each other, and we can easily predict what is its structure. We can easily predict its structure. Okay.